Hello, and today we have another interview / talk with J.F. Holmes, like Sherlock Holmes, if I got that right. We are going to talk about his books, then Canon Publishing, and then anything else after. And that's pretty much it, really. So, go. Talk to me about your books. First book, let's go.
I got to look really gray on my beard, man.
Do you know what? You can see all my gray over. It's terrible.
Yeah, we're all getting older. All right, cool. So, let me introduce myself. I am retired military, and I was watching The Walking Dead one day, and I said, this is a horrible freaking show. Where's all the military, right? And my wife's like, well, you fancy yourself good with the words, so why don't you write something? And I said, I will. So I sat down and I wrote, very first lines I ever wrote was, you know what sucks about the zombie apocalypse? And the guy says, no, what? And the girl says, there's no toilet paper, right? Because if you think about it, it's going to go quick. Obviously, as we saw in America with the COVID thing, all the toilet
Same
paper
here as well.
Here, right? So that became, I think I have 12 or 13 books in that series now.
Oh, wow.
That's called the Regular Scout Team 1, right? I have a Dragon finalist for one of those and another Dragon finalist for a different series. That tells the story of a team of military people, soldiers and civilians who work with them to go back out into the wilds after a zombie apocalypse and scout things out and see what conditions are like. And before the army comes in and actually goes in, they need information, right? So, 12 books in that one. And it's one of my favorite characters is Nick Agostine, who's the leader of the team. He's like my alter ego, right? And there's a fiery redhead called Britt O'Neill there, right? Who takes no crap from anyone. But to get back at my wife for putting me up to this, I put her on the cover of the first book. So, so it's been a lot of fun. And since then, I've written outside that series, probably 7 or 8 other books, and started up Canon Publishing about 2 years ago with the idea of giving people that are just getting started out a chance to get some mentorship and guidance and learn all the things that I had to learn the hard way about publishing, and to give them an opportunity for them to get their voice out there, right? And along the way, I've discovered some really good writers who have a lot of good talent. There's a lot of sucky writers out there too, which sometimes I've written some pretty crappy stuff, but made some really good friends and basically been able to help some people get started in the business, which being a retired non-commissioned officer, doing mentorship and leadership and helping people in their careers is something I'm really happy about. So if I make some money along the way, that's great. We're all in this to make money, but just the other side of it is that I get to sit down with some really cool people and help them develop their ideas and give them that kind of mentorship. So that's me in a nutshell. I also had a military cartoon strip about 10 years ago that was all done in PowerPoint. And it's called PowerPoint Ranger, which is a military thing for a guy who just sits at a desk. And, that was quite popular for quite a while. So I had a built-in following. So I've done pretty well. So that's it. We're done with the interview, and cool, buy my books. Yeah. And right, good talking to you, Joe. All right. No. Canon is a multi-author effort, and we have put out a couple different things, and our next focus is going to be on a series that's going to be a shared world. I'm finishing up right now. Should be out in December. It's very much based on the fall of the Western Roman Empire, but set in the 28th century, right? So the Galactic Empire has fallen, and there's people who are starting up, ex-military who are getting out there, getting contracts and stuff like that. And it's really about everything I write is about the people and how they interact. And what I like to say about my Scout Team series, it's about the team. It's not about the zombies or anything like that. It could really be any kind of plague or enemy or something. It's really about the things I learned as an NCO and how people deal with each other, and not really in combat, because I only saw the pointy end of rockets. I never actually got down into the dirt. But just how team dynamics work on a small unit level. And that's one of the things that a lot of people complimented me on. Hey, we really love the people and the characters in your book. books, right? Some of the situations they get into are absurd, but they're there to see what happens to the characters next. And that harkens back to a lot of what I read when I was growing up. There was a lot of crappy, cheesy military fiction and military sci-fi back in the 70s and 80s. And I love that stuff. And I just want to kind of bring it out there again and put it out there. So you're not going to get a 500,000 word, Game of Thrones book out of me, right? But every couple months, you're going to get something that you can sit down and say, hey, pretty freaking cool. It was a little exciting, so that's what I do this for, and it doesn't pay the bills. I still have a day job, which I will not tell you what I do, but it's nothing secret or classified. I know that there's a lot of weird people out there on the internet, so none of their damn business, right? But no, it's a good chance. And also with the rise of social media, I've been able to engage with fans a lot more than, traditional publishers have. And I've really built up a lot of good friendships with people who have reached out to me and said, hey, I love your books, right? And okay, cool. What do you think should be in the next book? And I put out draft paragraphs on, like what the next book is. And I say, what do you guys think of this scene? And sucks, or it's great. Oh, cool. You know what? I used to be a space shuttle door gunner, and that's not how it works. Okay, so this is really how it works. And okay, cool. Thanks for setting me straight. I'm just a dumb artilleryman, right?
Well, so if you don't know, you don't know.
Right. And I get a lot of praise for that authenticity, and I'm like, it's not me. It's the helicopter pilot who tells me that, the dash lights on the UH-60 are red, not green, right? Casey's probably going to slap me for that one. But, it's those little details, things I don't know. And my fans contribute a lot to that stuff. So in return, I put them in my books and I kill them off as gruesomely as I possibly can, right? Good. But it's a good interactive thing, Joe, you're going to be in my next book, okay?
Yes, kill me horribly, please.
Oh,
brutally.
Yeah. What you're going to be is there's a mercenary company called Two Para, and they're based out of one of the British settled worlds in the 28th century, and they're a bunch of obnoxious twits.
So, sounds like me.
Yeah, so I'll have you be one of the characters in there, and we'll see what happens to you. Okay, all right. It's just stuff like that. So it's a way of being. It's more like a interactive thing than it is just writing a book.
It's fun. You're really making it fun, and that people appreciate that. Mm-hmm. Right, let's talk about your shared, because you skimmed over a lot of stuff. You give me a lot of information, but not loads of detail. So let's talk about your shared universe world thing that you said you're doing. What mm-hmm. Go into a bit more detail about that, or go into what detail you can.
Yeah, sure.
You'd want to.
Okay, so a friend of mine who's also one of my authors, Lucas Markham. We're very good friends. I was down seeing his family a couple of weeks ago, but we're both very big history buffs. We both love the Roman Empire, right? And we got to thinking, I'm not sure where the idea occurred to me, because most of them occur to me while I'm standing in the shower with just hot water pouring on my head going, what if this happened? And, I get my books from that kind of stuff, right? I don't remember when I got the idea for it, but all empires go through periods of rise and decline, right? So what if, just as we're getting out into space, we encounter one of those empires and they kick the crap out of us, because they would, right? And we become a subject race of the empire. Eventually, they're going to go through their decline, right? And then what happens after that? Who's in charge? You've got all these subject alien races, including humans, who were part of this inclusive empire, but now they're all going to start squabbling over territory and stuff like that, right? So I set it up so that it's after the initial wars that started, right? Such as when Italy was falling apart, around 480 BC or AD or something like that. You have all these tribes and proto-nation states that are trying to figure out what's next, right? They fight a pretty terrible war, and then, it's, okay, we're done with the war. We're all exhausted. We've negotiated a treaty. We all pull back to our home worlds, and there's plenty of other worlds that are just left out. And I was thinking of also Africa in the 1960s, when all the decolonization was going on, and you have all the mercenary companies and the countries that are drawn along the lines of whatever the colonial powers set their borders, which matches nothing like what the actual tribes are. So the potential for conflict was there. So what I did was I looked at it as a point of view from a soldier. Okay. When you get demobilized, a lot of times they just throw you out on your ass. Okay. So here you had this big war where entire nation states are demobilized, and you step outside the gates of your base. Now what?
You got nothing to do. Yeah.
And you don't know what to do because you spent the last 10 years fighting. Okay. I have a lot of friends and people I know in the military who are in this situation because thankfully the wars are starting to wind down, and they spent 20 years fighting these wars. What do we do now? Okay. And a lot of them are fairly despondent. I know a lot have gone into private military contracting and stuff like that. So it's actually kind of a mirror on what I've seen happen to other people. Thankfully myself, I was in regular Army and National Guard. So I was very much more entwined into the civilian world than somebody who served for, 20 years regular military forces. But I've seen others who do 4 years or 10 years, and they miss that sense of adventure and camaraderie and things like that. And they go off and serve in, for Triple Canopy or one of those, or Blackwater or one of those other things. So that, and I'm a huge fan of Hammer Slammers, which is a series of books written by David Drake back in the 70s and 80s. He's a Vietnam veteran, where it's mercenary regiments basically come in and you hire them and they fight your wars for you, right? And it's a tradition that goes all the way back to Xenophon and the 10,000, back 500 BC and stuff. So I think that there's a real potential for that there. So what I did was I'm writing an initial book, called The Irish Brigade. I'm a big fan of history. The Irish Brigade is the 6th and 9th Infantry Regiment out of New York City, very famous Civil War unit, very historic. So one of the planets that was settled initially is called Erie, right? Or Irie. I don't even know how the Irish say it. But when everything falls apart, they form the Irish Brigade as a mercenary company, right? And the story focuses on somebody who was one of those aliens who now is no longer in a position of power, and he's a young man or young alien who enlists with this company, and his interactions with the humans and learning how to be a combat leader and things like that. So that's going to form the basis of everything. We have a 40-page Bible that lists all the details. And then I have probably 6 or 7 authors right now who are going to take my book and the Bible. And when I say Bible, I don't mean the Bible. I mean a world-building document.
It's the Bible of your world.
Right. They're going to build their own stories off of this. Has it been done before? Yes. Okay.
Doesn't matter. As long as it's good and fun.
Right. And I'm focusing more on the interactions of the troops than the gee whiz, cool guns, kind of, cool spaceships. It's much more about what the people are about, and how they deal with things. So that's what's coming up next year. I'm working also on, I have a series set. It's called Off-World because it's off-world, right? We open up a gate to Alpha Centauri and there's a planet there, and it gets closed because there's a nuclear war between China and the United States, and it wrecks Earth. So you have a U.S. infantry regiment cut off from Earth, and it has to defend a city, basically a settlement, against all the aliens on the planet, right? So it's a little flip on the invasion thing, right? I also have a series called Invasion where it's 10 years after the Earth has been invaded and conquered and the military went underground. And I was sitting there thinking one day, are you familiar with Ender's Game or Ender's War?
Yeah. I
was thinking, what if Ender lost, right? He'd go into exile. So the main character is this guy in his 30s who was the whiz kid, right?
And he failed.
He failed, right? Not unknown to him, there's political crap going on in the background stuff, right? So it really wasn't his fault. But the military is still in existence, just underground. And how do you fight an enemy who holds the high ground, right? Because they control orbit, right? And I wrote 3 books of that. It's pretty well received. I like that. I'm just really trying to explore all these different things of science fiction and military science fiction that strike my fancy, So that, what else I got out there? I've got a space opera. I've got a fantasy book, which is straight up pirates and wizards and stuff like that. I wrote one called Mage Core, which didn't get as well received as I'd like. It's what if Harry Potter joined the military, right?
I've always thought about like like a wizarding army, like it's just like you know they've got wands and they're actually like army. So it's sort of like you're shooting, you're like.
I'll send you a copy. That's exactly what it was. Okay,
I've really thought about that. I thought that'd be such a cool concept. Like,
So you're Sergeant Joe. You're on patrol, and you have a spell going, looking for IEDs, right? And I see one up ahead, and I'm going to put down a spell that stops the IED from blowing off, right? You're attached to that convoy, right? Or, that kind of stuff. And I wrote it. I liked it. I had fans who liked it, but all the fantasy people are like, oh, this is too bloody and real. And all the military guys are like, what is this crap? Magic, right? So it's one of those things that just doesn't fit in a perfect genre.
When did you bring that book out?
Oh, about probably 4 or 5 years ago.
Because I think like that's what I think you call space fantasy. And space fantasy is sort of becoming a bit more of a thing at the moment. I've seen more people talking about it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Literally where it's like a big blend, because like you obviously got military sci-fi, and you've got sort of like looser sci-fi and then hard sci-fi.
Yep.
And then you've got obviously like fantastical stuff, but still in a space setting. So that's space fantasy. And then like basically Star Wars in a way, you think a lot of Star Wars stuff.
Right.
If
it picks up, I'll write another one. But right now, I just handed off another shared world to a friend of mine who has a publishing company called Joint Task Force 13. That was based on a short story for one of our anthologies about Marines raiding a house in Iraq that turned out to be the old guy in it turned out to actually be a dragon, right? And they had to fight him. So we did an anthology with a bunch of stories set around a unit it's been around since the Revolutionary War. And then whenever there's a supernatural threat on the battlefield, they go in there and take care of it, right? I wrote, a World War II story about a bunch of paratroopers who find a troll under a bridge in France, right? So they have to go fight this troll, right? And it was kind of cool, and another one about some modern day guys fighting in Syria, and, the terrorists there are trying to call up a demon from Syrian mythology and stuff. And, the A-10 pilot kills it by crashing their plane into this big ass demon, right? So I just have the resources right now to publish it because I want to focus on Fallen Empire. So I passed it off to my buddy, William Roberts, who wrote one of the first books in the series. He's going to be taking it over. That is supernatural versus military, right? Hopefully there's a market for that, and I wish him the best with it, and I'll support him however I can.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've never really thought about sort of
Joint Task Force 13. Okay, all right. So there's just so many different worlds to explore, and only so much time in my hands. And I do write occasionally for other authors. I've written for Mike Williamson, who has a Freehold universe, he calls it, and I've done short stories for him. So, I'm doing an anthology short story for William Roberts, who, if you get on the show, I'm not sure you guys are going to understand each other because he talks like this, right? Because he's from Tennessee. And you got your accent. If you want me to translate between the two of you, I can do that. All right. But Hillbilly's a great guy, and he'll do well with that. So, and really the name of the game is all of us working together to be successful. It really is, so what else you want to know?
So tell me about the space opera. You said you're doing a space opera, but you didn't, or you did one, but you didn't actually talk about it.
It's called Under a Different Sun.
Right.
Okay. And it is about, it's set probably like 150 years in the future. And I kind of recreated the Napoleonic Wars, right? There's a British Empire, a French Empire, and America's not on the scene because of the big crash, right? Oh, yeah. Just hush your mouth there, buddy. All right? Okay. Let me go get my guns. No. So anyway, so in the middle of all this, there's an American kind of underground who are working to reestablish a new country in some far planet. And one of their operatives, he captains a pirate ship, basically, that operates, or a privateer that operates in between the war that the French and English are fighting in the stars, right? That was a great book. I love that one too. But again, I screwed up. One of those things that you learn as you publish, it was too short. So it wasn't really a complete story. I rewrote it and added onto it, but I had to just republish it as a second edition so it didn't get picked up as a new book. These are just the things that you learn as you go into the publishing world. I've learned a lot of things and made a lot of mistakes, and even so, I'm pretty successful at it. So
I have sort of noted, like from watching different people who talk about stuff like this. I've seen people talking about like some people really like short books that they can read in a few days, a few lunch breaks, because they don't have enough time to read the big books. Yeah. And there's other people who that when it comes to like audio books, and I know I'm a bit like this myself. If I've got a choice of two books which are the same audio, a token, 1 month.
One credit.
I'm going to go for the book that's bigger than the shorter one, just because in a way I'm getting more bang for my buck.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I've seen other people talking about this. That they're sort of like instead of trying to split a book into two, thinking like paper wise, like on ebook, but like where audio is going. A lot of people are going more audio. Really, that book should be just one book.
I've done that. Okay, yeah, I found that audiobooks that are shorter don't sell. Okay.
Yes.
So my Irregular Scout Team 1, it's 12 books I think I have on audio, and it's one book. So it's 40 hours of listening, right?
Yeah.
Whereas one of the books themselves would be maybe 4 or 5 hours, right? If that. Nobody buys those short books. No. So yeah, you have to, and my Invasion series, all 3 books are on one audio because again, that's like 20 hours and people pay for that. So, there's so many different aspects of the market and how to figure out how to sell your books. It takes a lot of your time, and audiobooks, can be hit or miss. My Irregular Scout Team 1 is always a steady seller. I get royalties for that every month from Audible, and I'm happy with it. The Invasion book, nobody buys it. I don't know why. Wrong category, maybe. I don't know.
So tell me more about this Invasion book then.
Sure. Okay. So it is, I don't know, 2030, 2050, something like that, right? And a scout ship from another planet crashes on our planet, and we realize that there's an invasion fleet coming. Why? Who knows? Okay. Copy some of their technology. We hurry up and build a Starfleet using some of their technology, and we're like, yeah, we'll kick their asses, right? Because this was a scout ship. We didn't realize that they had the bare minimum. Okay, they show up in system, basically wiped the crap out of us because it was like we captured a Hyundai and they showed up with all their Rolls Royces, right?
Yeah.
What we understand, we know from a Hyundai, what they brought was Cadillacs and all the bells and whistles and stuff, right? So a group of kids have been put in charge to try and figure out the best ways. They did all the video gaming and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But they got their asses kicked. And then the bad guys moved in and spent 2 years just dropping rocks on anything that looked like it was organized. And our civilization, you pull something out of our civilization, it's going to fall apart, right? It's because it's so complicated. But the military, not the guys that were building the Space Navy, the guys on the ground with the tanks and the guns and stuff are like, what if we lose? Let's just bury everything. We'll see what happens, right? And I actually took the characters from Irregular Scout Team 1 and I turned them into a scout team for the Confederated Earth Forces. And the book starts out with, it's the same people, different universe, okay? Right, completely different universe, just same names. And it starts out with these guys showing up at this farm and they're pretending that they're farmers, but they're asking some pretty pointed questions. And the main character is like, oh shit, they know who I am, right? It's the Ender character, but now he's living in exile, right? And he thinks, I'm under a death penalty if they find out who I am, right? And they're like, actually, no, we need you because we're going to try and take these guys on, right? One last shot. And it was really cool. It was a great book because they haul out the military stuff. I got to use battleships. They they took all the battleships and mothballed them and hid them under a mountain. So I got to bring them out and get blow the crap out of. And I really wrote, the first book was the, figuring things out. How are we going to beat these guys? How is the main character going to get back into the saddle, right? The second book is a series of short stories that covers all the action that happens on D-Day, so to speak, which includes special forces units attacking local garrisons, tank unit doing a tank battle, the battleships going after San Francisco. And then the key thing is they're seizing shuttlecraft to get to the space stations to take them out, right? One of my best characters was a Japanese fighter pilot who she was like 132nd in line for the throne or something like that. And she was just a fighter pilot, right? And because of the destruction around the Earth, she actually became the Empress of Japan, right? And just a kick-ass character. Not because I hate. There's an expression we have for girls that do boy things. I can't remember it all. Oh, Mary Sue. Okay.
Oh, right.
In fiction, a Mary Sue is a girl who does stuff that just she shouldn't be able to do. Like, I don't know, the latest Star Wars character or whatever. So she's not a Mary Sue. She's just a very good fighter pilot. Okay. She gets into hand-to-hand combat. She gets her ass kicked. Right.
That's the difference. Sorry. Where from a Mary Sue to actually like a decent character, or even if it's like Marty Sue, which I think is a man version, it's if they've got no flaws. If they can just, without no training, beat a trained person, or they can just outsmart all the smartest person, that's when they're boring. But like they could be, it doesn't matter if they're the strongest man or the strongest female. If they still lose, you're like, oh, they still lost. Now that really makes a difference. So like, it
does.
Yeah,
it really does. Like my main character, Nick Agostine in the Zombie Killers, he's got his flaws. He is a sucky shot with a long range rifle, and his girlfriend Britt razzes the shit out of him about it all the time. Right? He's like, "I'm going to take that guy out." She's like, "You're going to miss. You're going to miss. You're going to miss." Right? So he does miss, and she carries a shotgun because she can't, And when she first gets on the team, she's a civilian, and he's like, okay, you got to be able to hit this target X amount of times in a certain time frame. And she's like, fuck this. And she throws her gun on the ground and walks away. And he goes over and grabs her and throws her over his shoulder and dumps her back in the snow and is like, either do this or you're off the team. And she's like, you can't do that to me. And she's like, okay, you're off the team. And she's like, wait, you got to have flaws in your characters.
Yes.
Okay. Otherwise they're just not real people.
They're boring.
Yeah, Nick loses his leg at one point because he gets bit by a zombie. The dude's got an artificial leg. He's like, I can't march 20 miles anymore. He gets around on it, but by the end of the series where I'm at right now, Britt's missing an eye and a hand. Nick's missing a leg. Half the characters are dead. The one really tough ass guy, Sasha Zukovic, he's a Serbian special forces guy. Does not give a crap about anybody. All right. He'll kill you just as well as look at you, but he's an asshole. Okay. All right. Pardon my language.
No, don't worry, you swear away.
And the only reason he sticks around is because he's madly in love with Britt. Right. And she's like, whatever, but he's a jerk. Right. He really is to people, and everybody loves him. I'm like, why do you like this character so much? Because he's real.
He's damaged. He's damaged.
Yeah.
He's got flaws, major flaws. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't see it that way. He just doesn't like Jews, Muslims, anybody, right? Because he's a Serbian and he fought a war with these guys, right? And he's very blunt about it, right? And he's just a character. Another guy is a sniper. He's a Pashtun guy who managed to escape from Guantanamo Bay when the whole exploded. How he got there to upstate New York, he never explains, right? But he's a hell of a shot, and he's got a lot of good wisdom for Nick as an older kind of guy. But he's like, I'm 50 years old. I'm not going to run around and do all your stupid young person kind of stuff, right? So there's just so many different characters, and they work well as a team. And that's what I focus on in my writing, team stuff. Sorry, I went off a bit. Okay,
no, it's fine. But, you just talk away. Don't worry.
Okay, don't say that because I will sit here and talk for like 3 hours. That's my job. I'm a recruiter. I will talk your ears off. All right. So anyway, yeah, you should join the Army, Joe. How old are you? You said you're
29. I think I've missed it now.
No, actually, in the U.S. service, 29 is a cutoff. So you could join your territorials. I think you should because you need a break, and you should go defend your country. And it's only 1 weekend a month, right? I'm just saying.
When I was 19 or 21, I was really another guy I know called Lewis. He joined up, and I always sort of wanted to do it, but I ended up doing a bit more hunting with like guns and stuff. And I didn't go sort of down that. And then he joined, and I was really tempted to do it. But I know it sounds stupid, but I had a dog, and I kind of got this dog. I don't just get dogs and just shoo them off because I just think it's an arsehole sort of thing. And I didn't do it because I didn't want to have I've got, had a dog for a while, and I like.
No, I understand.
And I never did it, but I do regret not. I've always thought about it and always wanted to do it.
Listen, dude, you got kids now, right? Kids are much more independent than dogs.
6, 5, 2, and 1.
Yeah. No, you need a break. Okay, so go join your parents.
She'll kill me.
Oh, who cares? No, you'll be a trained soldier when you come back. All right, you don't. Who cares? She won't kill you. All right. No, seriously. Just take a couple months, go to basic training, get qualified, and it's 1 week and a month thing. That'll give you a break from, your kids for once a month. And she's got no reason to say to you, I love you going out with the boys again. And you're like, no, I have to do my military duty, right? And you'll be set. And then you'll never have that regret for the rest of your life.
Where the one flaw with this plan is I don't go out with the boys. I'm literally, I stay at home, look after them, do everything with them.
And she'll be happy. She'll be like, oh, great, you're going out with your mates. And you'll be like, yeah, I am. She's like, good, get out of the house.
No, she's the one who goes to work. She'd have to stay home and quit a job to go mad.
Okay, these are things you have to work out with her, but I think that's something you should do before you get too old to do it. Okay, all right.
It's something I've actually thought about doing. It's basically like it's the same sort of training, but it's not actually properly through the military. It's like private training or something that people do.
But then when you shoot somebody, you'll get thrown in jail. You know what I'm saying? Right?
I think shoot anyone anywhere, I'll get thrown in jail.
No, not if you're in the military. We get to do whatever we want. No, I'm just kidding. Right? Especially Americans. Oh yeah, Americans, dude.
Sometimes it's told off. I've seen.
No. It's if you're in America, it's great. You've got our oil. We're going to come to your country and take your oil.
You need freedom,
and you're in the way. Yeah, that's right. You need freedom, and you're in the way. So hey, no, I'm just kidding.
It's just a funny meme I've seen, and it kills me. It's like, what's that? Mars has got oil. Looks like they need some freedom over there.
That's right, man.
Democracy.
How fast can a JDAM travel in Mars atmosphere? No, I'm just kidding.
As soon as they work out, it's like, I think we could get over there. Actually,
I know. Oh, what? Our budget just increased. Cool.
The budget can take that. Actually, we can accommodate that.
I know. No, seriously though. I mean, there's things in life that we all regret, and if you can. But you just got to learn to live with that because the things that you do have balance it out much better. You got 4 kids and that's awesome. And they'll make up for anything you ever regret missing. So that was just me trying to talk you into doing something stupid. Okay. Cause that's what I do. I'm a recruiter. Right.
I've done a lot of stupid stuff before. I'm actually quite cool that my life sort of calmed down now. And I'm
good deal.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm just trying to write and do my YouTube. That's it really.
So what do you write?
Oh, right. Well, I'm not talking about because this Sunday, actually, I'm talking about my writing stuff with some other people. So I'm not going to talk about this because we're going to talk about you for the moment.
Okay, but I am a publisher.
I see what you're trying to do.
No,
we can talk to you after me. I've got no problem. Talk to me after.
I'm always looking for good writers. And if you suck, I'll tell you so. Okay.
Well, you have to be told. If you don't get told, you just think you're good.
Oh, dude, you'd be surprised. What do you mean I suck? All my friends say I'm great. That's because they're your friends, okay? And your mom, right? So, but
I know we're sort of diverting from what we're talking about, but the same story. This one guy, I read his book. I saw it. It was on Facebook advertising. I'll never go at that. Bought it for £10, which is about $13. I bought it. It was bad. I think the first 10 pages, which was more than 10, 15 pages. That was the prologue, was about 15 pages, and it was literally the description of every planet, every species, what all the species looked like and did, and where they was in the galaxy. And it's just like, I don't need to know all this. And then it's just literally just like reading like an old school book of just like information you need. And then when I got to the story, whenever he come to a new bit of technology, it was just a huge paragraph that took up half a page or a whole page of just telling me about this new tech. Then it'd be talking, and then it'd be a new something, telling me again, and all the characters were the same. I knew every detail about every character, and I just...
Yeah, well, I get that a lot in military science fiction. I call it gun porn, because there are some guys who just love to write about guns. Okay, cool, that's not me, right? I ask my readers sometimes, I'm like, what does Nick Agostine actually look like? And they're like, I don't know. Well, what about Britt? well, she's a redhead with blue eyes. Other
You
than
make
that,
up in your
I don't
head.
know. Yeah,
Each person
right?
makes their own version up.
Right. You know, I like to think that Nick is a slightly younger, less fat version of myself, right? Okay. But, you know, everybody has a different view because I know I get very descriptive with scenes like, you know, post-apocalyptic scenes or something like that. But that's just to set the environment. You know, what does Ziv look like? Well, I know he's bald and pretty muscly and maybe in his late 40s, but other than that, I don't know. You know, it lets readers use their imagination and fit themselves into the book, so to speak.
Well, that's right. Like, as long as you just give us a vague description, male, maybe a few features, big nose, small nose, long hair, short hair, we can then fill it all out. We can make them whatever color, whatever height, how they sound. We can do all that ourselves. And you just, the same little things you just sort of remind us throughout the book with each character. We can pretty much do that. If you drill in so deep how one specific person is, it's just too much to like, okay, I know what he looks like. And then if they tell you again, it's like, right, I know what he looks like.
Yeah, well, for some people, there's a market for that. And I wish them all the best. But, you know, it doesn't work for me. And I write to my strengths, you know. So if other people want to write in a different manner and it sells for them, hey, great. That's what fandom is about, you know.
But you can't moan when your books don't sell.
That's true. And
that's
although a lot of people, you know, everybody says they love my book, but I've only sold 3 copies of it. I'm like, well, because it sucks. I mean, honestly, you know, it's hard sometimes as an editor to tell people that. And I usually try and, you know, be like, well, hey, this is what you're strong with, and this is good, and this needs a lot of work and stuff.
And a lot of times stuff is not.
Yeah. And a lot of times they'll be like, oh, well, F you, you know, what do you know? Right. Oh, okay. I've sold a few books in my time. Right. Other people are very much, well, hey, really, nobody's ever been blunt with me and told me what I need to improve. So I really appreciate that. So, and then there's other people like Lucas who writes certain things, and I'm like, dude, you're killing me. And he's like, yeah, well, whatever. ITS contraction, you'll just fix it in the editing. I'm like, I don't want to fix it in the editing, but it's just his writing style, you know, and we do pick stuff like that up in the editing, but he tells a great story. You want some good space opera? Lucas Markham.
I've written his name down.
Yeah. Valkyrie series. So, okay, I'll give you an example because Lucas is one of my authors. Lucas is, he's a medical person in the Army Reserve and in civilian life, right? I'm not going to tell you what he does because I'm not going to put his private details out. But so he just recently finished command of a combat support hospital, right? So he said, I want to write a book about a futuristic combat support hospital and medevac, right? So he came up with this thing called the Valkyries. That's their call sign. And they are in the middle of fighting a war against an alien species. And these are the guys who fly in and pick up the dead or the wounded and bring them back out to the field hospital, right? It's great freaking book, right? And it's like MASH in the 25th century, okay? But a little more in the fighting and on the ground and stuff like that.
So you still get the action and stuff.
Yeah. He tells a great story. And his main character is a woman who's a flight nurse, okay? She starts out just as a flight nurse, and she grows throughout the series to the point where she's like in charge of a task force or something like that. But she screws up things along the way. She's a human being, right? And she has regrets, and, you know, people come to be like, Valkyries never die, right? That means that if the Valkyries are coming for you, you're not going to die, right? But she knows very well that a lot of the people they pick up are going to die, but it's become a symbol of hope, right? And she struggles with all these emotions and stuff like that. He tells a really freaking good story, you know? So that's the kind of stuff that we're looking for, right? It's human characters doing human things, so, or alien characters doing interesting things. So, all right.
Do you write? Have you written anything with aliens and done anything from alien point of views or stuff yourself?
Well, actually, it's kind of funny you say that because Invasion, everybody's like, well, what's the alien's point of view? I'm like, I don't know. I'm not an alien. I'm with the guys on the ground. I don't know why they're doing what they're doing. Eventually, it gets explained a little bit, but I'm not an alien, so I can't say why they're doing what they're doing, right? In Fallen Empire, there's going to be a lot of aliens, but in a lot of ways, they're going to mimic humans because if you make them too alien, they're going to be unrecognizable.
Well, right? Real aliens, you wouldn't even they'd be so different to us. You couldn't.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to understand their thought process, right? But if you have aliens who create an empire and have civil wars and politics and stuff like that, in a lot of cases, they're going to be a lot like us. They may have their own physiological differences, but in order to get to that point, you got to have some similar ways of thinking, right? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And, you know, they have a matriarchal society. Okay, well, there's parallels to that on Earth in different places, right? So, but the character motivations and actions, if you're really going to delve into an alien's motivations, they're going to be somewhat similar to human beings. I mean, if you look at Star Trek or Star Wars, the aliens are just people in different forms. They still have their way of doing things, which we can say, okay, that makes logical sense, right? You know, can we speak to them? Maybe not, but why are they here? Why are they invading? Okay, because they want territory, or, you know, they're looking for new lands.
Are very similar, like they need feeding or watering, they need space or some sort of resources, which is a very basic thing that all, if you just take our planet alone, every animal has its territory that it defends if another something comes into it. Everything has to eat and everything has to drink.
Yeah. Maslow's need of hierarchy, right? Or hierarchy of needs. You know, if an alien is really that different, what are they going to give a crap about us? Okay.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah. They're just chill on their planet being blobs.
Yeah. I'm going to invade Jupiter because I need some cloudy real estate. And it's nice when it's 200 degrees Kelvin, you know. Okay, fine. You take Jupiter and have fun with it. You know, what does that got to do with Earth? Nothing,
tell me what you think later on.
Yeah, you know, maybe we'll go on a tour together or something like that, right? You know, so no, I really haven't delved into alien thought. It like if you read Asimov and his robot series and stuff, the robots were the aliens, so to speak, and even they had motivations that were very similar to human beings, right? You know, so it's hard to get into an alien mindset. I think one of the guys that did it best is John Ringo with his Legacy of the Atlantis series, and I may be saying that wrong, but he did have some aliens who had some pretty strange motivations, but in the end, they really did tie into human motivations and stuff like that too. So if anybody can tell me a way to come up with aliens that are completely alien, but we can still relate to them and have sympathy for characters and stuff, I'm all for it, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm not a great writer. I'm pretty good. I'm not, you know,
everyone's learning, forever learning.
Yeah. I get better as I go. My wife will not read my books because the first book that she read, she's like, I can't handle your grammar. It sucks. And I'm like, wow. Okay. I don't think she's ever read one of my books since then, right? Biggest fan, greatest supporter, but she's not into science fiction. And
well, it's not your thing.
No, and she thinks that everything I write is like my old stuff was, and just, you know.
Oh, that's not fair. That's just judging you too much.
No, it's no, I know, but if I wrote stuff she was into, yeah, she's big on historical fiction and stuff like that. She probably would read it, but you compromise, and that's what makes a relationship work, you know. So that's what you do.
What got you into writing then? How did you?
I told you.
Down this? Did you really?
She dared me. I was watching Walking Dead.
Oh, that's it. I remember the beginning now. Yeah,
she dared me.
No, I remember now. Oh, yes, it'll come back to me now.
Yeah, she dared me. Oh. So I was like, what is this? Headshots from a revolver at 100 yards and somebody's never picked up a gun before?
The TV show, he's got his gun pointed down like here.
Yeah, and where's the military? Where's the military? Where's the military? The people with the most guns and most organization. And she's like, well, if you can do better, then go ahead. You know,
that's something that did bug me about Walking Dead. It's like military just like, where? What happened to you guys? Like,
I know. The guys with all the guns and everything else. So
then you saw, I think it was like season 3 or 4 when like the guy with the patch, his little group,
governor,
they all set a trap and killed all the military guys.
Yeah, I know.
And I saw that. I was thinking, why did they all bunched up just drive in? It's like, I'm not a military man, but I know they spread themselves out, man. You don't all like sit around a campfire like, God, this is safe.
Yeah, I know. Well, a whole bunch of civilians with guns. Yeah, they'll be on our side, you know. So it's like, come on. I'll show you real quick if I can bring it up. What the missus on the cover.
What's the book called? Because I can put it on I can share it on here.
Even zombie killers get the blues.
Even zombie killers get the blues.
Yeah, I'll bring it up real quick.
Okay.
I'll share my screen. All right, so
you can share your screen. I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah,
I know I could do it, but I didn't know you could do it.
No, it says I can. So if I can figure this stupid thing out, go back to StreamYard, share screen, and make sure I close all my bad screens. And
exit.
Can you see that? Can you see
I can't see
Amazon?
nothing. No,
can't see the
nothing.
Amazon stuff.
Send me a link in the chat
Sure.
on the side, and I'll post it up.
All right, copy that.
I think,
and
you should be able to send it in the chat. I think. I don't know.
So I sent it to you in the chat. So to get back at her, I put her on the cover, which, hey, she's a good-looking woman. I think she looks pretty good there. So
what's it called? Because nothing's popping up. I'll have to look on my.
Even zombie killers get the blues.
What book? Book 1.
Yep. Oh, maybe not. No, that's the title.
Oh, okay. Oh, because it's this zombie killer blues book. Is that the one where
there's a chick in uniform and there's a dead zombie there?
Oh, and there's one with a blondish bird lady.
Bird? Do you guys still say that?
Yeah.
Don't you get smacked in the head by women when you say it?
Oh, I think has she got brown hair?
Yeah, in a ponytail.
Right, that's it. Hang on. Yeah, that's it. I'll screen share. I'm just popping it up. It's just loading. My computer's
so
slow.
Anyway, so I've really enjoyed writing those books because it's been a way for me to put my thoughts down. You know, I'm always thinking stories and stuff like that. So it's a way for me to just get all these things out that are in my head and putting them down on paper. And
is that it?
Yep, that's it. So yeah, I put her in a uniform and then I Photoshop all the rest of the stuff on there. I thought it was pretty funny. You know?
The gun does look fake.
Oh, come on, man. Whatever. You know what?
Do you know what? It doesn't matter. I'm sure on the book, nice and small, it looked really good.
Yeah, no, you can tell, but
no,
it
doesn't matter. Okay? It's there. Of course it is.
Actually, one of the hardest things being an author is getting good covers because unless you have the money to really pay an artist to do something, you know, the good artists who deliver cost a lot of money.
They do, yes.
The ones who are good artists but can't deliver are cheap, and the ones who can deliver and who are cheap are crappy artists, right? You know, so it's like that expression about women. You can get hot, intelligent, or crazy, or
the whole
you can
crazy.
You can only get 2 out of the 3, right? So you can't get, you know, hot and intelligent. You crazy has to fit in there someplace, right? You know, or I don't know. I can't remember how it goes, but it's hard to get a cover. Unfortunately, I found a pretty good cover artist for our next book. I do most of my covers myself, and they've actually worked out pretty well. But I'm at the point where I'm going to start paying somebody to generate story-specific covers instead of just stealing stuff from the military and things like that. So.
Well, I think it will look good because if you're expanding more and stuff. So like if people have their books lined up, they'll see that they're all like the same artist has done and art that, like for me personally, I buy books. Well, the cover draws me in first.
Yes.
So a lot of the time I just buy a book because of the cover. I'll go on Amazon and I'll be like, click, I'll have that. That looks good. I might give a quick brief read, but I don't always do that all the time. Just click, that'll do. Adam, the pictures pulled me in. And I get really annoyed if I read the book and what's in the picture's not on as well. That really bugs me.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to match the book up to the story, or the cover up to the story as best I can. Right. And, you know, honestly, that's what the book is about. It's about a bunch of military guys who go around and shoot zombies in the head. So it's accurate, right?
Are your zombies fast or slow? What they like?
I don't know. It's not about the zombies, man. It's about the team.
Yeah, but surely they're getting fighting the zombie. They know if they're charging it or not.
Yeah, they're pretty fast.
Yeah.
You know, when you when you tangle with one, you know, you stand a good chance of getting bit or whatever. She actually asked me to make her a character in the book, and I said, okay, cool. I said, what do you want to be? She's like, I want to be like a bad guy, and which is funny because she's like the nicest person I ever met. So I made her. I named the main bad guy, the evil scientist who actually sets the entire plague off, after her. So she's like, oh, cool, I'm a sociopath, right? Because the premise is that this woman was working in some kind of lab for DARPA or something like that, and the funding was going to get cut for her pet project. So she's like, screw it. I'll just release it out to the world and then I'll have a job forever. Right. Yeah. Who cares how many billions of people die. Right. So, and my wife's like, oh, that's cool. That's me. I'm like, well, hopefully not. You care a little bit more about people. Right.
Hey, what do you mean you're like this? Like, worried at night. You're laying there like pretending to go to sleep and you're like, oh.
Man, what are all these chemicals in the basement, honey? No,
just cleaning products.
Yeah, no. She's a medical professional, so I worry about it sometimes. But no, best person I ever met in my life. So, so what else? You're going to be a character in my next book, right? You're going to play an obnoxious guy from Two Para who gets killed through incompetence or bravery. How do you want to die?
See, the sort of type of person I am is, I'll tell you a story. So me and my father, we was on a train in London, and these two guys got on, and they literally the train was crowded, and they just started arguing, getting each other's faces, and they're shouting at each other, like calling each other out that they're going to fight each other. I was like, there's one other person in between me and them. I looked around, I looked at everyone, no one said anything, and I literally went, come on guys, let's not do this inside, come on please, like let's not do it. And then everyone else all then sort of, he's talking away. Then everyone else then all started being like, yeah, come on, guys, not in here, not in here. That's the sort of person I am. I'll be like, I don't really want to get involved. I look around, I think, oh, someone's got to do it. I'll just do it. That's me.
Well, that's a good way to being from New York City. That's a good way to get yourself in trouble, But I mean, London's the same thing. People mind their own business, I would assume, right?
The thing is, there was kids on the train, and I mean, obviously there's old people, young people, men, women, and everyone's looking away like all terrified. And I'm thinking, oh, no, I'm gonna have to say it then. Come on, guys! But as soon as I said it, then everyone else was like, "Come on, guys! Let's not do it. Let's not do it." And then they stopped and they went off. But if if I didn't say it, everyone else would have been like, "Oh, I just pretend it's not happening." And it's just
And there's some people out there who just want to get killed. Not you. I'm saying those guys that start those kind of fights. Yeah. They're just ready to fix their problems for them, and they keep going and going and trying to find somebody who's bigger than they are because they're trying to prove something, or get killed in the process. So I'll have you die from bravery. How's that sound? That's
fine, as long as it's brutal and I get torn to pieces and bits of me dangling everywhere, and I'm like, oh no, and I'm still trying to go, and then I just die. That's cool.
Yeah, okay. I envision explosives in there. Okay, cool.
I trip on saying it blows my leg off, and a bit of my knee bone jabs me in the throat. I'm like, ah!
Yeah, we'll make it. All right, cool. Or you dive on a grenade or fall out of a spaceship or something.
I thought about that, like, because I watched
diving on grenades. I don't recommend diving on
grenades. No. I haven't actually been like, watching on my try today. No, I was watching a film. I can't remember what film it was. Like, someone jumped on it, and I kind of thought to myself, like, would I do it? Like, if no one else saw, it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, in a stupid way, I would, but I don't want to die. But it's like, if I'd probably get hit by it anyway, and I'd probably die, and everyone else would get wounded. Well, so if you just take the lump.
Here's the thing. When you're in a good unit and it's a tight unit and you got good friends and you're in combat, you wouldn't even think about it, right? It's like, oh crap, the grenade's going to go off. If it goes off, and you don't think this, you know how to react. You know that it's going to kill your buddies, right? And you're like, screw it, I'm going to die, but my friends will be saved. And a lot of times when you're in units that are tight like that, it's like an automatic thought. These are my brothers, and I would do anything to protect them, which is one of the things that motivates people to fight. And once the bullets start flying, all the stuff about stealing oil and bringing freedom, the real stuff, that goes out the window. And it's like, okay, the Marines in my squad are the guys that I'm here with. And
you didn't start the war. You guys are here doing your jobs, and you know what I mean? That's yeah.
And it's like, hey, crap. My sons are grown, and Joe's got young kids, and if it's going to be somebody, it's going to be me instead of him because he's got a life to go back to or something like that, right? Not saying jump on a grenade for you, Joe. I don't know you from a hole in the wall, okay, right? So I'm just saying if you were on my fire team or in my squad or something like that, that's just kind of stuff that, that's what, when I say I write about the team and about the people, that's the kind of stuff I write about. So I think we're at an hour, and my wife just came home. So
yeah, that's fine. If you've got to go to your wife who doesn't read your books, that's not a problem.
She does read my books. She's awesome. Hey, come here. I know you're all scrubby. This is my beautiful, sort of my spouse. This is Joe.
Hello.
Hi, Joe.
Joe's.
Hello.
You can't hear him because he's on the headset. But Joe's interviewing me for a podcast over in England. All right.
Cool.
So if you can come up with somebody better looking and nicer than this, like a cousin of yours or something who needs a green card, then I'm all in. All right. But for now, I'll stick with her. Okay. All right. Because she's a social.
Very loving of you, that is.
She ended the world, Dr. Morano. But it was nice to see you. Okay, I got to get back to podcasting. Bye. Oh, that was
so
really
sweet.
Cool.
Add it to your book.
Yes, no, she got us latest Dungeons and Dragons book. So
Cool.
I play D&D a lot. It's because I'm fat and old. It's a lot easier to play those games.
I never played D&D. I played Warhammer. I used to paint the models and do Warhammer.
Same thing. You're just playing
4K, 4K version.
Right. It's just a bunch of old dudes sitting around and pretending we're young. But anyway, so cool. I appreciate the podcast. I got to go cook dinner, but
That's fine.
Anytime you want to have me on, just let me know. All right.
Yes.
If you want to do a panel or something with a bunch of authors, I've had a good time.
That's fine. Next book, whenever you come to your next book, if you want to do a shorter one where you just yabber about your book and try and get a bit of
sure,
more out of it. Any other people Sure.
Yeah. Oh, I've got plenty of authors who will line up to do podcasts for me. All right.
Perfect.
And you've already hit some of them. Like Casey's a good friend of mine. Chris and I are both publishers, so we're like, but Chris is a good guy.
Mutual rivals.
No, there's plenty of room in the business for everybody. So I'll put you on with Hillbilly, and like I said, I'll have to translate for the two of you. And when he reads this, and when he hears this, he's gonna be like, "Wow, that son of a bitch!" Yeah. But I'll get you, Holmes. But I'll come on. We're gonna have a panel on Monday, a Zoom panel for the Fallen Empire stuff. And
yes, I have seen that. I am going to.
Yeah. So any of those guys you want to have them come on, or anybody that's doing a book drop, just let me know. I'll bring it. All right. And
we will add all your information in the description as well. So
cool.
After this, send me all that. And
cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
I had a good time talking to you.
You too. Thank you very much. Thank you for the people who haven't watched yet, but who are going to watch it when you see the video. My hand goes there. Cool. All right.
We're going to jump your readership, your followers from 2. We're going to double it, at least to 4. Okay. All right.
Maybe
you got to start somewhere, man. All right. Yeah. No, seriously, I'll put you up on PowerPoint Ranger, which was my old cartoon site. I got 80,000 followers there. So
wow.
I'll let you know when it goes up, and you can interact with people if Facebook actually shows it to anybody. You know how those things work, right? But yeah, I'll put you up in our fan group, the command post, and you can talk to the guys and interact with them once it's up, and it should work out pretty well. I hope beneficial for both of us. All right.
Cool. Perfect. All right. Right.
Thanks, Joe.
I'm going to end it now. Right. Bye.
And cut.